Tonight's on deck with Evil Dead Chick. What's in store when you open the door? Step inside, my little ones. Bring your flashlight and good luck charms. Oh, and good luck charms. Oh, might get dark. It might get scary. Maybe even a little insane. Crawl out from under the bed. Don't be afraid. Evil Dead Chick is here to entertain and thrill. Tonight's on deck with Evil Dead Chick. Let's hang out till the sun comes up.
Okay, gang. It's time for Evil Dead Chick to eat crow. She can be wrong. She has been wrong and will continue to be wrong. So allow her this one indulgence or two or three. She's only human. So forgive her. Snap judgments. Her loose cannon mouth and her eye roll in response to the modern style. It's time, my friends, for Evil Dead Chick to eat crow.
Howdy, gang. And I decided to make this edition of Evil Dead Chick Eats Crow a live version. We'll see how this goes. It looks like there's one person in here. But I watched another new movie that I really didn't think I was going to like. And surprise of surprise, I did end up liking it very much so. And that movie, in case you have not figured it out by the title of this or the thumbnail or any of that, it is Final Destination Bloodlines. I keep wanting to say Hellraiser because I think there was a Hellraiser Bloodline or something like that, but I keep wanting to say that. But this is Final Destination Bloodlines. Hey, the poet. And this is the newest incarnation in the Final Destination franchise. It came out in theaters May 16th. I did not watch it at the theater, but Steve had a version of it. And he said, hey, do you want to watch Final Destination Bloodlines? And to be totally honest, at that point in time, I said, I don't know if I want to watch that. I'm like, I have not seen a Final Destination movie since like the second one. I think I watched the first two and then I just tuned out. And never really had an interest in going back and watching the rest of them because I just figured it was, more of the same old, same old. But you're talking about a person that watched every freaking Friday the 13th movie that came out, even the bad ones. Okay. So why I got this attitude that, well, it's new and all that. So it can't be good, right? But I should have learned my lesson with Hard Eyes, because for those of you that saw the first edition of Evil Dead Chick Eats Crow, that was a pre-recorded one, and you saw me talk about how I thought I was absolutely gonna hate Hard Eyes. It was gonna be lame, all that stuff. Surprise, surprise on that one too. I actually sat down and watched it with Steve, fully expecting to hate it, and ended up really enjoying it. Okay, so went the same way with Final Destination Bloodlines. I mean, this was fun. I laughed. I mean, I told Steve, I turned to Steve a couple of times and I said, I know I should not be laughing at this. But just the way that people died in this particular one, I don't want to give a bunch of stuff away for those of you that have not seen Final Destination Bloodlines. But the basic story is that it starts out in the 1960s. And Steve thought at first it was Seattle's, like the Space Needle thing. But I think it turned out to be something else. Um, the sky something. I can't really exactly remember. It may not even be a real thing. Of course, it may be. And the young woman, young blonde, very petite and pretty. It's actually the actress who plays Stargirl. For those of you that watch the Stargirl series or have watched the Stargirl series, I'm not sure if that's ended or not, but she plays our main girl at the beginning of the film, and she is at this party, um, in this thing that, hey, Batman, that looks like, it pretty much looks like the Sky Needle. Sorry, folks, for eating while I'm doing this, but I was a little hungry. Um, but it's a tall building, or tall, like it's real narrow, and then it goes into a circular thing. Okay, a lot of glass and stuff like that. In fact, the people are dancing on a glass floor, and me and Steve both looked at each other and we were like, there's no way we would be walking around on that glass floor. It would just be too freaky. Um, so people are dancing, they have bands playing and all that. And our title character, we find out that she's pregnant. But her man proposes to her, Paul, he proposes to her. Um, and this kid, that's what Steve said, that kid started it all, He throws a penny and it ends up bouncing off of something. And, for those of you that have seen the other Final Destination movies, that just one little thing, one little crack because of a penny, for instance, will set off a train of events that ends up either to a bunch of people getting killed, or later on in the film, people that cheated death, and death doesn't like to be cheated. Death will come for you, at least in these movies, even if you escape the initial onslaught. So the floor starts cracking, a fire starts, and just on and on and on. And it appears that the pretty blonde girl dies. Okay. And then we find out this is a nightmare, that this girl, Stephanie, I think her name is having. And she's been having these. And she comes home from college and she starts asking questions about her grandmother. And so we find out that even though in her nightmare her grandmother dies, she doesn't really die. She somehow cheated death, and she also saved a little boy's life who becomes later in the film Tony Todd in his last film appearance. Um, and it's clear that Tony Todd is ill. It's kind of sad to see him later on. And he is referred to, I believe, as JB in the film. So um, Stephanie goes to visit her cousins, and her father tells her before she leaves, before her and her brother leave to go visit their cousins, he said, "Don't talk about your grandmother. Don't ask any questions." But Stephanie just can't help herself because she's having nightmare after nightmare after nightmare, and it's just driving her crazy. And so instead, she asked her aunt and uncle, and her uncle's like, "I don't want to talk about it, Stephanie. She's a crazy old woman. Stay away from her. She messed up your mother, um, and she messed up me, and it's best to just stay away from her." But Stephanie just can't, and so she keeps asking, and her Uncle Howard, he's having none of it. So she asks her aunt, and her aunt finally relents and tells her to look in a box um, in this bottom drawer. And she does, and she finds an address for her grandmother. And she goes there, and her grandmother's basically living like a hermit. She's been fearful for all these years that death will come for her. So things really spiral out of control after Stephanie visits her grandmother, and death comes calling for other members of the family in very gruesome fashion. And like I said, I don't want to give away all the twists and turns in this movie and all the kills and all that stuff because it's still a new movie and there's probably still people that haven't seen it. But guys, this is a very worthy entry into the Final Destination series. It almost makes me want to go back and watch the ones that I missed, right? So um, it's got plenty of gore, it's got plenty of dark humor. Um, and like I was saying earlier, it kind of, in a lot of ways, had me laughing all the way to the bank. And I felt bad, because I knew people weren't really getting killed, but you kind of feel like, should I be laughing? These people are, getting things run through their face and limbs cut off and caught on fire. But when you think about the audacity uh, of the nature of the deaths in this film, it just makes it all the more fun. Yes, Batman, I did hear about Ed Gale passing away and his body of work. Um, I respect, but I have opted not to talk too much about Ed Gale for various reasons, and I'm sure you are aware of those reasons. But I did respect his body of work, right? Howard the Duck, the Chucky films, and stuff like that. Child's Play films, I should say. But um, I don't, like I said, I don't intend these Evil Dead Chick Eats Crow or films, streams or videos to be very long. I just wanted to get on here. I was like, well, this is another time I'm wrong. It's time to eat crow again. So I just wanted to get on here for anybody that was interested in one, seeing me eat crow. Um, hey, Gory Tiger. Well, yeah, Batman. Yeah, I mean, he was called a creepo and in other words. But I can't say that I'm glad that anybody dies. I don't really want anybody to die, but you're entitled to your own opinion, Batman. I just just wanted to put that out there from me. But anyway, I guess that is it for me. I kind of hate to get out of here when Gory Tiger just got into the chat. But I got a few other things to do, but I did want to get on here and eat crow once again, and also give y'all a little rundown on the new Final Destination movie, Final Destination Bloodlines. I would encourage you to see it. I think, like I said, it's a worthy entry into the Final Destination franchise. And this gal was wrong once again. So that's all from me. And as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty. Well, it might be a little bit because I think I dropped pizza sauce on it earlier. But I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do before I get off of here for the evening, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. Have a fantastic rest of your Friday evening and night, folks. And I'll see everybody next time.